So as I said last time, before we jump into doing the Season 7 reviews, I wanted to take some quick time out to talk about Them's Fighting Herds, the infamous fighting game that was originally meant to be a My Little Pony fan game. The year was 2010, and after My Little Pony made its initial splash amongst the internet and created its own little subculture of bronies, one of the first things to crop up were fan games. I did a whole video talking about that, so you can go check out that video if you want. I briefly mentioned Them's Fighting Herds in that video, but I wanted to talk about it more in detail because I think the story behind the game is actually rather fascinating. Under the original title Marvel vs. Clopcom, the game was intended to be a My Little Pony version of a game like Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter, highlighting various characters and locations from the show and having them fight it out. Eventually the title was changed to Fighting is Magic, and the original planned release was summer 2011, but the game was ultimately shelved because Hasbro hit the development team, Main 6, with a cease and desist letter. While Main 6 had to drop the project due to the cease and desist, they did try working things out with Hasbro, but Hasbro refused to meet them on any level. So while Main 6 had to drop the project entirely, a small group of fans picked up the assets and quietly made the game themselves under the title Fighting is Magic Tribute Edition, which eventually hit the internet in 2014. However, after all the well-documented fiasco that went on with them trying to make Fighting is Magic, the Main 6 team were still determined to make their very own fighting game. But with some help from Lauren Faust herself, who believed in the project and even helped them with marketing and designing characters, Them's Fighting Herds was successfully funded through an Indiegogo crowdfunding effort.
From the beginning, our goal with this game has been to create an experience that is adorable, but mechanically serious. Players will be pleasantly surprised to find that even though the game is really cute on the outside, there's plenty more to dig into as you play.
Around 2018, as the game was being worked on, the developers blogged that the game was not going to be released on its initial release date because pixel artists weren't responding to emails or were just quitting the project altogether, which meant that they were incredibly understaffed and couldn't release the game when they originally planned. By the following year, in 2019, the developers picked up Aaron Stavely, who helped with the game's development, as Stavely was known for his IT and game development skills, as well as his stint in the growing fan community for the game. With Stanley at the helm, new pixel artists were brought on board, and even old ones who previously left came back to finish Chapter 1 of the game. 1 year later, and the game was still not ready. That is until April 2020, when Chapter 1 finally released online to play. Taking all the elements of My Little Pony out of the equation and changing the Main 6 to be various original hooved animals, the plot involves their lands being invaded by predator animals and they must fight them off, with in-between segments called the Lobby, meant to be similar to that of 16-bit side-scrollers from the SNES era. Despite Chapter 1 getting released and getting a lot of good press, the developers still had to juggle ever-changing personal schedules and making sure backers received their rewards. And then you jump forward just 2 years later in 2022, and the game was picked up by Maximum Games, or as they were called, Modus Games at the time, saying that they would help finish the game and help get the game released on console. And released on console it was. Not only was it released on Mac, Windows, and Linux, but it was also put out on Nintendo Switch, which is the version I played, PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series XS.
These are a few of my favorite things: kicking, stomping, and kicking.
During 2022, Level 3 was promised as part of DLC, with Level 3 being intended to have intricately animated power moves, and each character would get special animation sequences for each of their special combo moves. At this time, they also announced that additional DLC, or downloadable content, would be story mode and new characters to play as. All this sounds really good, but unfortunately, Level 3 took even longer for them to make. So this was yet another delay for the Main 6 development team, with many speculating difficulties coming between the development team and Modus Games. But with all things considered, the game was eventually released to console, and when it came to marketing, they obviously turned to promoting it with the Brony fandom's help through sites like Equestria Daily, since the game was originally meant to be connected to Friendship is Magic. The development staff even recruited various well-known voice actors like Christopher Sabat and even Tara Strong to supply voices for the game. They even helped with making promotional content all over social media for the game's creation and showing off the characters in various videos to help promote the game.
Show me what you got. You'll be seeing stars before I'm through with you.
However, this is sadly where things take a turn for the worse, because by 2023, the development staff had to announce that the game's development was going to be shut down, and some of the initial Indiegogo perks had to be cancelled. All of this is incredibly sad, especially for the people who were looking forward to see what the game had to offer after Level 3, but yeah, after that, Level 3 was the last bit of DLC that the game was ever going to get. Now, according to the website Steam, the game received over $2 million in terms of sales, and plenty of positive reviews came all across various different gaming websites, and the game was even nominated for Fighting Game of the Year by the DICE Awards, but I guess it lost out to Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate. I don't know, I had to look that up. I don't know much about gaming culture, so. But with all that out of the way, what are my overall thoughts on the game? I really like it. Even as something that's not officially My Little Pony, it is definitely great based on the fact that it is My Little Pony adjacent. You know, along with the fact that it has good gameplay mechanics and really good animation, great new characters, great level design. It has all the perks that come with a great game. So yeah, if you've never played this game before, I highly recommend checking it out. And I also recommend checking out Fighting His Magic Tribute Edition. It was really good too. Anyway, that does it for this video. I just really wanted to talk about them fighting herds at some point because the game's backstory is very fascinating to me, and I really did like the game and the final product. While it is sad that the development of the game had to stop after Level 3, and it is very sad that they had to cancel some of the Indiegogo perks that were promised, so all of that is very sad, but as it stands, I think it's good that the game was ultimately finished and put onto console, and I'm very curious to see what the main 6 development team go on to do. I really hope that they get to make more games. I'm very curious to see what they have in store. But anyway, tune in next time to Pony Fanboy Reviews as we'll be talking about the Season 7 premiere. So until then, I'm the Pony Fanboy, I fanboy over ponies and you just listen.